everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. Welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am vlogging. It's been a little while since I've done a vlog, so let's see how we go. But yeah, I've got a few plans today. It's Saturday, and this weekend a group I'm in online is doing a cozy weekend with a history theme, and there's a few different prompts for things to do. I've already done a couple of them, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, but I do have some reading plans as well. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring you along for my cozy weekend. The first thing that I have to do is in an hour I am heading off to go and get a remedial massage. My shoulders are not good, so I've been just trying to get that under control. And I'm going to go and see my massage therapist for that today, so that will be helpful, hopefully. I've also got a plan, because one of the prompts for this cozy weekend is to visit a historic site, and I had an idea, hopefully I'll be able to do it, to go and visit, and the weather's okay today, so outsidey things are okay. There is an Aboriginal rock carving that was mentioned in a book I read recently called Unsettled by Grenville, and in that book she talks about going to visit this site, and it's not too far away from where I live, so I'm thinking that maybe after my massage I'm just going to drive directly there. We'll see how the massage goes, because if something happens at the massage and I can barely move afterwards, then we might just be coming home to rest, and that will be a kindness that we do to ourselves. So that's my vague plan, to go out and have a look at this rock carving, which I have not seen before. So yeah, that should be good if I can get out to do that. I've also got a few books on the go, a couple that I've started very recently, that I want to kind of either finish or make some progress on. Probably the most important one is the book I'm buddy reading, which is called A Kindness Cup by Thea Astley. Thea Astley is an Australian writer, and also related to the book Unsettled. This book was mentioned in that book because it talks about a really horrible incident that happened historically in Queensland, I believe. Yeah, Queensland, in sort of the early colonial period. I won't go into what it is because it's pretty horrific, but anyway, I was buddy reading with Tanya, and we buddy read Unsettled, and then we both decided that we wanted to read this book, so we were buddy reading this one as well. She is either finished or almost finished, and I am only a couple of chapters in, so I need to get a wriggle on with this one so that I can read the comments that she's left on the buddy read, and also add my own for her to read too. So yeah, I'm hoping to get into that one a little bit more. I also just started this one. It's called Paws by Kate Foster, and this is a middle grade book, and I only just heard about it. I'm up to chapter 3, but this is, the main character is a boy, an autistic boy, and I was just interested to read this book because I heard it recommended. I'm not actually sure if Kate Foster is autistic herself, so I'm not sure if this is own voices. I need to look that up, but if anyone knows that information, let me know, that'd be very helpful. But I heard this recommended by a disabled reader, someone who writes reviews of books, and is quite involved in Australia in the sort of like middle grade reading space, as a disabled advocate. So she recommended this book along with another one, so I picked up a copy of it, and I am giving it a go. And so far, in the first 2 chapters, chapter 1 begins with what I think is a pretty good description of essentially a social interaction from the perspective of this autistic character. It feels very authentic to me. So anyway, I have been enjoying that so far. So if I feel in the mood for a bit of a middle grade kind of moment, then I will pick that one up. The other book that I started last night is this one, Decorating a Room of One's Own, Conversations on Interior Design with Miss Havisham, Jane Eyre, Victor Frankenstein, Elizabeth Bennet, Ishmael, and Other Literary Notables by Susan Harlan. This is a book I came across, was that last year? When I was doing my non-fiction challenge? No, it was the year before. So this book first I came across this at my local library. It sounded fun. I borrowed it. I didn't get a chance to read it. And then I found a copy at a reasonable price. So I purchased it because it just seemed like a fun thing. Because the idea of it is, it's sort of like one of those blogs or a magazine article where they go into your house and take the photos and then you get interviewed and then they write it up, sort of thing. But this is like imagined with literary characters. So the premise of it is really fun. Last night I read the introduction and the first one, which was Elizabeth and Darcy's neither formal nor falsely adorned pad of privilege. Obviously, we're talking about Pride and Prejudice. And the tone of this is a little more sarcastic than I thought it would be. Like it's a bit heavy on the sarcasm and being critical, as opposed to just sort of, I don't know. So I'm willing to kind of continue giving it a chance for a little bit. So I'm going to read the next couple. The other thing that I also thought was, hang on a minute. I don't know if I can read all of these because I haven't read all of the books. So the next one is on Wuthering Heights, which I never finished, though I feel I vaguely understand the characters, so I think that's okay. But then the one after that is from Bleak House, and I've never read that, and I'm not familiar with the story at all. So I don't know that I can read that one because I'm not going to get the references that are in it. So maybe I will just sort of skip ahead to books that I have read. Like there's one of Jay Gatsby. There's, what else have I read? Lady Macbeth, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't know. This might end up being a DNF, which would be really disappointing because I think the premise of this is really good. But I went online and had a look at the reviews after I'd read that first chapter and the introduction, and a few people were just like, it didn't get along with this at all for the reasons that I'm saying. So, other people found it hilarious and gave it 5 stars. So it's each to their own, but I feel like at the moment already I'm kind of siding with the people who were giving it 2 stars, so maybe this is going to be a DNF, but I might give it another couple of chapters and see, but I'll let you know how I get along with it. So I may end up picking up completely different things, I'm not sure, but those are the books that I've kind of got on the go at the moment. So the other thing I wanted to mention to you, because this was some of the prompts that I've already done for the Cosy weekend. One of them was to take a photo of the oldest book in your collection, and I guess you can interpret that a number of ways. So I also looked at books that were published the earliest, and in my collection, so in my husband's collection, he's got a copy of Beowulf, which is, we're not 100% sure when that is, but the date given on Storygraph was around 900, so that's pretty old. But in my collection, the oldest book that I had was Canterbury Tales, and it was published in 80 something maybe. So yeah, that's otherwise I think the oldest book in my collection. However, in terms of physical object being super, super old, I had a look because when my grandmother passed away and my mum and her sister were going through the house and packing things down because the house, we were moving towards selling the house. My grandfather had moved into a retirement home, and it was a whole thing. But going through the book collection, which my grandparents didn't own a whole lot of books. My grandpa read a lot, but he kind of, in his later days, ended up getting a Kindle, so most of the books that he was reading were on the Kindle. But they did keep some books, and I've inherited those books because I think otherwise I think these books were going to be like donated or thrown away. And I kind of saved them from the house. But the oldest one that I have, I think, is this one, which is a copy of Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. And this is a very old classic. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in Little Women, this is the book that the girls are reading. And reflecting on. It's sort of the very kind of like Christian religious aspect of that book, because this is I believe a Christian allegory. But yeah, this book is very old, and the reason I know it's very old is, I'm going to just cover the surname. It was given, can you see that, to my great grandfather, my grandmother's dad. And I don't know if you can see down the bottom here, but it says it was gifted to him at Christmas 1903. So this book has been in my family since 1903, which is cool. And I'm glad that I have it. It's certainly seen better days, but it is something special to hold on to. So yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because that was a really cool find when I was looking through. And I've got a number of other books that were gifted to my grandmother as prizes from school, I think. This was also a prize from school for my great-grandfather, and it was given, I don't know if you saw when you looked at the book page or if it was visible in the camera, but it says for scripture and grammar. And he was awarded it by his teacher of class 3C, so he would have been like 9 years old or so when he got that. So anyway, that was nice. But the other books that I've got from that same time had been gifted to my grandma in the 40s when she was at school, so that was cool as well to kind of look at those again and enjoy kind of thinking about my grandma and my family, people who aren't here with us anymore. Anyway, that's a very somber note to end this little clip on. But I'm going to have my cup of tea. And I might do a little bit of reading, we'll see. But yeah, in about 45 minutes or so, I need to head off and go and have my massage. So I'll check back in when I've got something to tell you about. I literally stopped filming and then this happened. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure this is half the reason that my shoulder is bad. So anyway, I'm not going to say no. I just got out of my massage. I definitely look like I've just had a massage. And I am going to go to have a look at the Aboriginal rock carving. So that's my plan. I'm going to head there now and I'll take you with me. I've accidentally come too far up the road. But what a view. That's the Harbour Bridge, and there's Centrepoint Tower, city. This is it. It is not as well signposted as I would have thought. It took me ages to find it, but here we are. Okay, so it's a bit hard to tell, but I'm going to try and zoom in. You can see sort of these spikes. And down here is the tail fin. And the other tail fins on that side. And you can't really see, but in the middle there's a carving of what appears to be a person inside the whale. Okay, it's very windy outside. Back in the car now. It was really hard to find the rock carving because it's at this place that's called the Coal Loader, which was a site that used to be a place where coal ships would come to be loaded, I guess. I didn't read all of the signage. Probably I should have, but I didn't. Anyway, so it was quite hard to find, and it wasn't well signposted at all. And I wonder if that's because they don't want to draw attention to it. You know, people might vandalize it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I found it, so that was good. It was a little bit busy, so there was people just walking past who had no clue that that's what was there. So that was really interesting. I might have to come back another time when it's less windy and hot, because it was in the full sun. So yeah, I just needed to come and sit in the car. I put the aircon on now. I'm cooling down. All right, we're gonna head home. Just a quick stop. Hello, I am back home. I did stop and have some lunch, and some time has passed. I realised I had forgotten to put my washing out on the line. So it's not going to dry today, but I can at least get it a bit dry before I bring it in and hang it inside. Pain in the neck. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought, hopefully I have been able to put in the little clips I took on my phone of my travels today. So I did make it out to go and have a look at the Aboriginal rock carving, which was great. Not a great experience because it was really hard to find. And I was like wandering around just being like, where is this thing? And trying to find. There was like no directions, there was no signage, but eventually I found it, and it was interesting. But I think I need to go back, now that I know exactly where it is, on another day when it's not blazing hot sun, and take some time to look at it more closely. But that was good. And then on my way home, I stopped in at Vinnie's because there was one that I hadn't been to for a very long time. And I got some stuff. Do you want to see? Of course you do. So I'm going to start with what I think is a very cool find, which is this LED light sun catcher sort of thing. A thing to hang in your window. And somebody has put some like dried pressed flowers in the center of it, and then around is sort of like, it's a bit hard to tell possibly, but it's a slightly blue tinted LED light. So I have cleaned it up. It's looking pretty good. It was a little bit dusty, a bit grimy, but yeah, very easy to clean. So now I can hang this up in my window and have a beautiful little pressed flower moment, which is exciting. So that was a really good find. That was $6. And another handmade find was this cool patchwork bag, which somebody has made. Like, there's no branding inside. It's kind of a bit wonky, but I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. And then inside was also this little zipper pouch that definitely looks very handmade. But a pouch is a pouch. I do like a little pouch moment. Pouches are very handy to have, so that's also fun. So this was $8, and I think it's really cool. I like it a lot. And then I also got a couple of books as well. One that I've read is this one. What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. Translated by Alison Watts. I read this last year, I think, or maybe early this year. And it's really cute. And I had borrowed the copy that I read, so now I've got my own copy, which is lovely. This is an author I haven't read from, but I know of. It's Ellen van Neerven, who is an Aboriginal author, and this is a novel called Heat and Light. And I don't know anything about it. I just picked it up because of the name. And I think I might have a copy of this, but I thought I'll grab it anyway, and I can always just donate it if I do have my own copy. And that is The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. Again, I've not read any Joan Didion, but I've heard good things, and this is the book to read if you're going to be reading some Joan Didion. So that was exciting to find a couple of little things at the Vinnie's on the way home, which, sorry, for those who are not in Australia, Vinnie's is a second-hand store. I'm sure that was obvious from what I just showed you, but anyway, second-hand store. Bargains galore. Very exciting. I still have done no reading today, so I do need to correct that. I might pull out one of my books now and just sort of sit and see where the afternoon takes me now that my washing is out. It's about 3:30, maybe about 3:45 now in the afternoon. So, yeah, I'm just going to maybe do a little bit of reading and see what happens. I don't have any plans to go out again today, but you never know. You never know. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day. So, last night I read a little bit of this one, A Kindness Cup, about 30 pages or so, and I'm now 40% through the book. It's heavy going, so I'm probably not going to finish, even though this is such a short book, I'm probably not going to finish this today. It's just heavy going because it is talking about an incident that happened, that it was inspired by a real incident that occurred in the early colonial period in Australia, up in Queensland, where there was violence towards Aboriginal people, the original inhabitants of Australia, and that was widespread in all areas where white people were going. But this particular incident was a particularly horrific one. I won't go into what it was because we actually haven't got there yet in the book, but I do know what's coming. But yeah, it's heavy going because of the topic. So I'm just taking it a little bit at a time to make sure that I'm okay as I'm reading it and that I'm actually processing what I'm reading. So I read about 30 pages of that yesterday. And then right before bed, I actually started a new book. This is not the, it doesn't have its slip cover on because I've put that aside because that's what I do. But you can actually see the title of it in silver foil on the cover. It's called Words to Sing the World Alive, which is a collection edited by Jasmin McGaughey, who I follow on TikTok, and she has really great recommendations for books by Aboriginal authors, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander authors. And also it's edited by The Poet's Voice, which I don't really know what that is. I guess it's an organisation, not sure. Anyway, what this is So I've read the introduction and then I've read 2 little sections, and this is actually a perfect book for reading in bed because you can just do it in little bite-sized bits, and actually that's probably a better way to read it than to sort of sit down and try and read through lots and lots of bits of it in one go. So essentially what this is Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander authors have been asked to share a word in their language, in their ancestral language, even if it's not a language that they actively speak, but perhaps a word they've discovered or been told, come across in some way that means something to them. And then they've written an essay, a short essay about the word and, and generally speaking, like about language, and the importance of that language, that connection to culture and so on. And so far it's been amazing. I am not the primary audience for this book, but I'm so grateful to have been given the opportunity to read it. And the introduction by Jasmin McGaughey actually explicitly says, to any First Nations readers of this collection, I hope these words and moments shared bring you peace and learning like they did for me, a clarity that English as the coloniser's tongue often cannot bring to life. To non-Indigenous readers, I hope you are able to understand the generosity given here and think in terms of circular reciprocity in how you respond. Like Auntie Rose asks in the opening piece, what will you do with this knowledge? How will this gift move on from you? Where will it return to? So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to think and to reflect, but also I feel the joy of the writers in writing their pieces. And so far I've read that piece by Auntie Rose. Auntie Rose Elu, who is a Torres Strait Islander elder. And I also read an essay by Jasmin, who is a Wiradjuri poet, who I've read a collection of, which if I can find, I will link where I reviewed that collection, because it was this year, I'm pretty sure that I read it. Anyway, her piece was also excellent and very poetic, and actually it's where this title came from. So yeah, that was a really nice unexpected little start that happened last night. So I'm going to keep that as my bedside book, I think, and just sort of take a little moment when I am going to bed. Anyway, so it is now Sunday, and I have already been up and about doing a lot of things. It's getting up to 8 o'clock, and actually my alarm's going to go off in 3 minutes for 8 o'clock to say take your meds. Yeah, so I've already been up doing some laundry, dishes, general putting things away, all that jazz. So yeah, it's already been a little bit of a morning. I've got a few things going on today. Probably the main thing is that Sunday mornings is when my husband and I do breakfast together, because we don't often, he doesn't really eat a lot of breakfast, to be honest, but we do a late breakfast, so at about 9 o'clock I get him up and we do eggs on toast, baked beans, that sort of thing, hot breakfast. So that's going to happen. But before that happens, I actually really need to get some editing done, because I filmed last week and then I didn't edit it. So I've already now been 2 weeks without a video uploaded. And I have one that I filmed sitting on this very camera. And actually I need to do that too, because otherwise I've only got 22 minutes left of filming time. So that's my next big job, is I need to edit the video I filmed last week. And then I can put it up onto YouTube today. So you will have seen that if you are a follower and you're not coming to this as your first video that you're seeing with me necessarily. It will be sitting there if you haven't already seen it. So I've got to do that, and I also have to do a little bit of work today, just preparing for one of my groups. So my day job is I'm a teacher, a learning and support teacher, and I've got a year 6 group that I work with, and I've got to prepare some things for them for this week. This will be our last week working together, so yeah, just got to get myself organised for that. So it'll be probably about an hour's work today. So yeah, that's where today's heading, but I'm hoping I can get a little bit more reading done, and I'm also hoping to do a bit of puzzling, because I have a new table which is currently behind you right now, a drafting table that I got that you can like angle the desktop of, and I specifically got it for puzzling to have a dedicated space for puzzling, and also that's my meds. I'm going to get the meds out so that when I stop filming, I'm not going to take them on camera. I'm going to get them out so that I can remember to take them as soon as I stop filming here. Anyway, I got this table, which I'll show you when I take some footage of me doing some puzzle today, which is it's like a tilted table, and you can change the angle of it. But yeah, and it also is adjustable in terms of height, so I can make it taller if I want to. So yeah, the idea being that I don't hurt my neck by having to like hunch over, which as you will have seen earlier, I did go to the physio because of shoulder neck issues, so I do need to be better with my posture. But yeah, so I'm probably going to do a bit of puzzling today as well. So when we get there, I'll show you my new table because it's really fun. But yeah, that's basically the day. And then I'm going out. We go out for dinner on Sunday night with my husband's dad, up to a local club that we have nearby where we live. So we've got some things going on today, but I'm hoping to kind of slip a bit more reading in today than I was able to get done yesterday. Anyway, let's see where the day takes us. So this is my drafting table. You can see that's my chair where I sit in the puzzle that I'm about to do, but it's this angled sort of situation that can be adjusted. So this is my puzzle table. I have angled it, and it doesn't have wheels, but it slides around pretty easily on the carpet, which has been really good. So I can just kind of like tuck it away when I'm like in, so it's not jutting out into the walkway. So yeah, I'm about to start sorting my puzzle pieces to find all the edge pieces, which is how I like to start. And I'm gonna do a bit of puzzling. I've just edited my video and it is currently uploading, about to go out once it's finished uploading, basically, to be published. So enjoy if you've seen that one before. If not, you can hop back and have a look. But I'm gonna do a bit of puzzling now, and then I will check back in once I've done a little bit and show you the progress that I have made so far with the puzzle. Alrighty, this is where we're at. Pulled out all what I thought was all of the edge pieces, but as you can see, 2 missing. There's only ever been like one time that I pulled out quote unquote all the edge pieces and actually got all the edge pieces, so that was a magical day, but not today. I am just filming an outro for this video. I have a costume change. I'm getting ready to go out for dinner, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So I just thought I'd check back in and let you know how the day has progressed. So I got my work done. I think I spent about an hour, hour and a half getting that work done. I don't like to do it on the weekends, but sometimes needs must. So yeah, that's all done, ready to go for tomorrow. And I have brought the washing in. That's good too. Yeah, and I've got a few updates for you with the books. So I mentioned this book earlier on in the video, Decorating a Room of One's Own, Conversations on Interior Design with a Variety of Literary Characters by Susan Harlan. I have decided to DNF this book. I read one more chapter on, which was the chapter on Wuthering Heights, and then I skipped ahead because at that point I was like, we had come up to a book I hadn't read, so I skipped ahead and read the Gatsby chapter and also the Jane Eyre chapter. And yeah, I just think it's too cynical. It's not, and it is mildly amusing at times, but there's lots of things that are mildly amusing, and I just don't want to spend my time in a cynical headspace in my leisure time, because there's enough of that in the world. I don't also need it in my leisure. So I am DNFing this book, unfortunately. Yeah, it's disappointing, but it is what it is. I've also made a little bit of progress on A Kindness Cup. I'm now up to page 90, and I can feel it's building to something in the present day timeline. So there's two timelines in this book. I can't remember if I've mentioned this already in the video, but this is told from the perspective of a character who was present. It's sort of in the present day, but he's remembering back to 20 years ago when a massacre happened. And yeah, this is a very confronting book. But yeah, it's good. It's very literary as well, I would say. But yeah, I can feel the modern day timeline is building towards something, perhaps a confrontation. So I'll be interested to see where that goes. But yeah, I'm currently up to page 90 of about 150. So yeah, I'm making good progress there. And I've also read one more of the essays from Words to Sing the World Alive. This one was by Dr. Anita Heiss. I've seen her name written down so many times and I've never heard it said out loud, so I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce her surname. But she's written many books, some of which I own a copy of. But yeah, this was a really interesting chapter also because she is talking about learning language from the perspective of somebody who grew up speaking only English, because of the trajectory of her family. You know, a lot of Aboriginal people were denied the opportunity to learn their own languages, and because it was something that was looked down upon or very harmfully beaten out of people, or, you know, not made accessible to them via stolen generations, children being taken from their parents and so on. Lots of very awful reasons why a lot of modern day Aboriginal people don't know their languages, but she is learning Wiradjuri. Am I saying that right? Which is a group from the sort of central New South Wales, the state that I live in. And yeah, she talks about that as a really humbling experience and having to kind of like surrender to that. And that was a really interesting little essay on the word she had chosen. So yeah, those are my book updates. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to close out the vlog here because I'm getting picked up for dinner in 10 minutes. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.